Sure. So I'm Zach Cross, the president of Revenue Analytics. And our company actually evolved from a consulting company into a software as a service company, and we help large companies price their products and services. And a lot of the complexity really comes down to they've got thousands of customers, potentially hundreds of thousands of products sold through a large number of distribution channels, potentially even sold globally, and there's a lot of variability in the prices that they're charging to all of those different customers by different product, and there's a lot of complexity into figuring out what is the optimal price and the optimal mix of products they should be selling at any one point in time.
So what challenge did they face in particular over the past 2 to 3 years?
Sure, I'd say the number one thing recently has been inflation and just the rising cost of their raw input goods and materials. And that inflation has then taken a pricing process where they're typically updating pricing. Maybe a best practice would have been quarterly, more normally would be twice a year, once a year. They're updating their prices to their customers, to now they're needing to do that monthly, if not more frequently, just by the sheer volume of change that's happening to their underlying cost structure.
So when you look out at December 2023, stick your finger in the air, figure out which way the wind's going to blow, what do you think the theme is going to be?
That's a great question. I think that it'll probably vary a little bit by the industries themselves, but I think we'll start to see the reverse, and we'll start to see a deflationary environment and people who have been pushing out rapid price increases having to figure out effectively how to reverse that and do it in a manner where they can maintain their margin performance, but also maintain their market share as well. And I think it'll be a really fascinating time.
So how did you end up running a firm like Revenue Analytics? Education experience. What did that path look like?
Sure. I'd say it probably fairly unique. In my early years, I was kind of a jock. It was really hard for me to get interested in anything academically. And then as I got into high school, I started really talking to my dad about what he was doing. And my dad actually invented yield management, later rebranded it as revenue management in the airline industry in the early 80s. And I really just kind of got into thinking about supply and demand and what prices people were charging and how to use price to drive demand in certain categories. And so then I took that passion to business school, went to the University of Miami, and studied double major in entrepreneurship and marketing, and graduated, moved back to Atlanta, and started with a company here in town called Revenue Technologies, where I was a consultant helping a software company implement their pricing product, helping large-scale manufacturers, mostly technology manufacturers like Motorola, AMD, Diebold, the ATM manufacturer, helping them with their pricing.
Okay. Out of all of the education you got, what would you say was the most relevant?
It's probably a combination of really understanding marketing. I had a great marketing professor who mostly taught classes from 6 to 9 because he was working throughout the day on just really thinking about how to build a book of business and like how to actually market to people from kind of an end consumer standpoint. And we apply a lot of those principles today, even though we're in kind of a business to business world. And then secondarily, on the entrepreneurship side, did a lot of really interesting consulting projects as well, where we were working with small businesses in and around Miami and getting to go into a business, 2-3 person company and really unpack how do they make money was really eye-opening to me on just the various ways and the spectrum of which different people can generate actually significant amounts of revenue, and the complexities associated with that really kind of continue to spur my passion to help figure out how to grow businesses.
So if you were to run into the high school version of you today, on the cusp of graduating, got the whole life in front of them, knowing what you know now, and knowing what you were like back then, what would be the one key piece of advice you would give?
Embrace math, I think. That's what I would probably tell myself, which is,
That's awesome.
It's really important, and you're gonna want to understand analytics and numbers, and pretty much agnostic of the role that you're in at any company today. Things are data driven, and if you can't understand more complicated analyses, you will be left behind in a room.
So the world is getting more quantitative, not less, and you expect that trend to
Yes.
continue on its 7,000 year path.
Right. I really hope so.
Awesome. Well, thank you so much.